Hello from Shanghai, this is Chris. Welcome to another episode of China Currents, your weekly news report of what's trending in China. Let's start this week's episode with President Xi Jinping's visit to Europe, beginning with France. On May 5th, Chinese President Xi Jinping arrived in Paris and was welcomed by French Minister Gabriel Attal. In a written speech upon his arrival in Paris, Xi looked back to history and said that over the past 60 years, China-France relations have long been at the forefront of China's ties with major Western countries, setting a good example for the international community of peaceful coexistence and win-win cooperation between countries with different systems. On May 6, Chinese President Xi Jinping held talk with his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron in Paris. Xi indicated that China and France should uphold mutual benefits, jointly oppose acts of decoupling and disrupting industrial and supply chains, and say no together to building barriers. In an article published in French media Le Figaro, Xi said that we live in a world that is far from being tranquil and is once again facing a multitude of risks. China is ready to work with France in a spirit that guided the establishment of our diplomatic ties to forge a stronger, comprehensive strategic partnership between our two countries and make new contributions to stronger cooperation of the global community. Xi's visit to France comes at the 60th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and France. The Sino-French relations have always been sort of special compared with major Western countries. Since Charles de Gaulle, France has always remained, or should I say, deliberately distanced itself from the US agenda and achieved a degree of foreign policy autonomy compared with other NATO states. France was the first major Western country to recognize Beijing, and that was in the early 60s, a period of containment, the Iron Curtain, marked by the Cuban Missile Crisis, Berlin Wall, and LBJ's ruthless escalation that led to an all-out Vietnam War. It was definitely an unorthodox and courageous move to make. So, considering such history, it becomes clear why China chose France to be the first stop for President Xi Jinping in his first visit to EU in 5 years. As Xi mentioned in his talk with Macron, China and France should uphold independence and jointly fend off a new Cold War, a bloc confrontation. Official reports from both Chinese and French media say another issue high on the agenda this time is to open up the Chinese market to French produce, especially in agriculture. From French farms to Chinese dinner tables, as the Chinese state media say. Wines, sausages, milk, and bacon are among the names that the state media mention. There surely are potentials in trade between China and France. China and European Union are each other's second largest trading partner. In 2023, EU's export to China is approximately $160 billion, in which France's export only occupies a very small proportion of $21.3 billion. In comparison, in 2023, Russia alone exported $129.1 billion worth of goods to China. However, the trade agreement, especially the agricultural part, did not lead to much reaction on the Chinese internet. Many netizens doubt if French agricultural products can survive the highly competitive Chinese market. Apparently, there's still a long way to go for the French. Next up, as we record today, China is just recovering from the travel frenzy during the Labor Day holidays, where 300 million trips were taken, and that is just within China. There are real internet footages of people mountain, people sea, 人山人海, a phrase used in Chinese to describe the overwhelming amount of people. Since China gradually lifted all COVID controls last year, there has been no lack of debates both inside and outside of China on the state of China's economic recovery. But at least in the field of tourism, sentiments are visibly high as evidenced by what's been trending over the May holidays. And data from the Ministry of Culture and Tourism indicate a 7.6% jump in the number of domestic trips taken during the same period last year and 28.2% increase from 2019 at pre-pandemic level. Domestic tourism spending also saw a significant increase, reaching 166.89 billion yuan, a 12.7% year-on-year rise and a 13.5% increase from 2019. According to Chinese state media Global Times, the growth rate indicates a strong recovery in domestic consumption, because the May holiday numbers exceed both the Qingming Tomb Sweeping Festival just a month ago and the Chinese New Year Spring Festival in February. And it's not just tourism. Other consumptions in China has also been firing on all cylinders during the May Day holidays. According to Chinese state media, it's projected that China's social media retail sales will grow by more than 5% in 2024, a key indicator and contributor towards pumping economic growth to meet a target of 5% GDP growth. Also news in tourism, countries around the world are also taking actions to attract Chinese visitors. The list of countries offering visa exemption to Chinese nationals have grown quite significantly in recent years. On May 5th, Cuba's Minister for Tourism Juan Carlos Garcia announced a new policy that allows Chinese passport holders to enter Cuba visa-free. Havana also announced that China will be a guest country during Cuba's 2025 Tourism Festival, adding that direct air flights would resume on May 17th. Comments on Chinese internet suggest visa exemption will ramp up Chinese people's interest in traveling to Latin America, a region known to most Chinese people for cultural exoticness and natural landmarks. Following the announcement, China-based online travel platforms reported a 40% jump in searches for keywords related to Cuba. Meanwhile, China is also taking steps to track foreign inbound tourists. Well, let's go back to Xi's visit to France for a second. At a joint meeting with the press with French President Emmanuel Macron on May 6th, Chinese President Xi Jinping said that China is to extend the short-stay visa exemption policy for citizens of 12 countries, including France, to the end of 2025. Details were later confirmed by Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian that citizens from 12 countries will be able to visit China for business, sightseeing, transit, and other purposes for up to 15 days without having to apply for a visa. The 12 countries are France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Spain, Malaysia, Switzerland, Ireland, Hungary, Austria, Belgium, and Luxembourg. Chinese state media Global Times believe that the measures will significantly boost inbound tourism, which also demonstrate China's commitment to fostering people-to-people exchanges and determination to opening up. Next up, military. On May 8th, China's third aircraft carrier, the Fujian, returned to its port in Shanghai after successfully wrapping up its 8-day maiden voyage. Chinese state media regards it as a crucial step to empower the Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy to better safeguard peace and stability when faced with maritime and aerial security threats. According to the Chinese Navy, the Fujian completed a series of tests on its subsystems and equipment, including the propulsion and electrical systems. It will continue to carry out follow-up test procedures according to the plan. Unlike its predecessors, the 60,000-ton class Liaoning and Shandong that use ski jump ramps to assist aircraft takeoffs, the 80,000-ton class Fujian is China's first aircraft carrier to be equipped with 3 electromagnetic catapults to launch aircrafts. It's also the largest and most advanced aircraft carrier ever built outside the United States. The larger displacement allowed the Fujian to carry more aircraft, and electromagnetic catapults enable the carrier to launch aircraft more efficiently, including launching heavier aircraft, launching more types of aircraft, launching fully loaded aircraft, and launching aircraft faster. On Chinese internet, netizens are thrilled to see both the maiden voyage and the technical breakthroughs that the Fujian has managed to achieve in such a short period of time. It's been only a little over 10 years since China's first aircraft carrier, the Shandong, which was built on the basis of Soviet Union's abandoned Kuznetsov-class aircraft carrier Variak, was commissioned to the Chinese Navy. Beside the Fujian, netizens are also excited about the comment made by Yuan Huazhi, Commissar of the PLA Navy, who said the next aircraft is in progress and will be China's first nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. Last but not least, let's turn to a dispute happened just at the doorstep of Chinese territorial water. On May 6th, Australian Defense Minister Richard Marles said the Chinese J-10 fighter jet released flares in the flight path of an Australian Navy Seahawk helicopter deployed from an Australian air warfare destroyer HMAS Hobart. Australia claimed that the incident happened in the international water when its Navy was enforcing UN Security Council sanctions against North Korea in the Yellow Sea. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese told the press that we've just made it very clear to China that this is unprofessional and that is unacceptable. Well, first, this is the Yellow Sea. International water? Yes, but still at the doorstep of China. Let's hear the Chinese side's argument. Zhang Xiaogang, spokesperson from the Ministry of National Defense, refuted Australia's accusation. He stated that from May 3rd to 4th, during the training of Chinese naval vessels in relevant waters of the Yellow Sea, the Australian guided missile destroyer HMAS Hobart sent shipborne helicopters 3 times to conduct closing reconnaissance and disturb the normal training activities of the Chinese side. The Chinese military issued warnings and forced them away. The relevant operations were reasonable, professional and safe, and fully in line with international law and practice, Zhang stated. Well, in this case, I presume the Australians will probably be very happy if they spotted a Chinese helicopter watching them drilling outside Darwin, in the international water, of course. Coffee or tea, my friend? Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching this episode of China Currents. If you have any thoughts and comments about our show, please reach us at email address below. I'm Chris. Looking forward to hearing from you and see you next time.